The message of the day: stay sharp, stay diligent on your calling for life, stay focused on what you're supposed to be doing, stand strong, but stay sharp. I say stay sharp because I dealt with a situation this week at work that highlighted to me the importance of watching who you vent to and watch how you vent, and don't get too comfortable. As many times as people will tell you that, you can vent to them, you can talk to them, you can let your guard down, you can trust them. You gotta have discernment and the wisdom to know everybody don't mean what they say. So quick story time, because this is a real quick video. I really want to just say what I gotta say because I feel like what I learned this week and what I was reminded of can help somebody else, but I don't want to drag it out, okay? Situation at work happened where basically I was having a conversation with all of the directors where I work, and there's 4 of us total, and I was discussing how one of the team members that work in the back was just not caring about what I was telling him in regards to the business. Everything that I said was about the business. It was about helping the operation run better, having a heart of care, being intentional, being a good communicator. All of those things this team member was not doing. And so his quote unquote director or boss, because there's 2 sides, I'm the director over the front and then there's a director over the back. And so the director of the back made a comment and basically said that it wasn't his responsibility anymore, being that he's not a leader. And I got what she was saying, but for me, I was upset because I'm like, at the end of the day, we're all here to serve. We are here providing something for someone else that they're paying for. And at the end of the day, this is a business. And so we all should care. We all should have a certain level of respect for each other and understanding each other's perspectives. I get that, sometimes things happen that are out of their control, but how you communicate that and how you show empathy towards that is what really matters. And so when people basically show me that they don't care, they don't give a crap, it ain't anything they can do about it, it made me angry because I'm like, what are we doing here? What is the purpose of us being here if no one really cares for real? And so I was just basically like venting that, not looking for a solution, but just, expressing how I felt. And then I walked out the room, and apparently they, were talking about me when I left the room. I went back and I said I wasn't going to say anything, but I did anyway, which was me reacting out of emotion and reacting. So I walked in and I tried to be silent, but I opened up the can of worms. And when I open up that can of worms, I'm expressing my emotions, I'm pouring my heart out. And then one of the directors made a comment and said that I was going against what I preach about in regarding having emotional awareness, being a leader, basically making me feel like me expressing myself is me going against what I preach about. And I'm like, I'm actually talking about the business. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm actually trying to advocate for our operator and advocate for our guests. Like, that's what my job is to do. And so to make me feel like the mad black woman was kind of crazy. So then I walked out. I cried. I called my husband and I vented to him about it. Then one of the directors that didn't make a comment about the situation, she came out and talked to me. I went back in. I was a grown woman and I addressed it with the person that I needed to address it with. But how I left that conversation at the end of the day reminded me of the importance of staying sharp. It reminded me of the importance of being very strategic about how I say things and who I say them to. And I told them I have a switch, and this is toxic. It's one of my switches that I used to have with my husband. I don't have it anymore, but I brought it up for a reason. I said I have a switch. It's either I'm going to vent, be myself, be able to say how I feel in a respectful way, or I don't say anything at all. And I said that is pretty much what you're going to get out of me. So instead of me going back to my old ways and letting that be how I operate, how I'm saying stay sharp is just me saying, when it's about the business, I'm going to say what needs to be said to support the business, and that is it. When it comes to my emotions and how I feel and pour my heart out, I won't be doing that anymore. I'll do that with my husband, somebody that I can trust, somebody that I know won't judge me or try to use my words against me. But when it comes to the workplace, I gotta make sure that I'm being a leader of my life and not letting other people's lack thereof, any type of knowledge or whatever, affect me or disrupt my equilibrium. So you got to stay sharp. You got to be very, very intentional about how you say things, who you say them to. And I hate that, because we should be able to just express how we feel and not be judged. But people will try to manipulate you. People will try to make you seem like the bad guy. People will try to diminish your emotions, especially as a Black woman in America, because I was in a room with one other Black person, a mixed person, and a white person. And the white person is the one who made the comment about me, basically, her using my words against me. And it made me feel away. But, I took it as a lesson, and I talked to her about it. I realized, thank you for telling me that, because it needed to be said. But I took it in a sense of like, I got to make sure that I stay on my P's and Q's. Everyone is not going to accept how I feel or how I express things. Not everyone is going to take what I'm saying and seeing it in the bigger picture. Instead, they took it basically personal, and instead of trying to find a solution. And honestly, in that case, I really wasn't trying to find a solution. I was just venting about somebody who I've had issues with the entire time of me working there, and there's nothing to be done. No matter how many conversations I've had with this person, nothing has came about. And so then I was told, well, it's my job to basically like go the extra mile when it comes to this person. But I never did, because I didn't want to overstep over his particular director. But now I know, if something is affecting me, to go to that person and do whatever it is I need to do regarding conversations, consequences, things of that nature, which is fine. But in life, it's very important that you learn human nature, you learn yourself and what ticks you off, what triggers you. And you have to, especially if you're going to work in a leadership role or in a professional setting, you have to stay sharp and be intentional about how you speak and how you communicate. And you got to have very strong boundaries. That's another thing that I realized in this moment is I got to have strong boundaries. I have been oversharing because I thought that I could be in a space with people who are a little bit like-minded and who are also dealing with the same struggles that I'm dealing with. And so I was, being a little bit more vulnerable, talking about my personal life, things of that nature. But now I'm like, well, dang, I got to make sure that I be, what y'all been saying, quiet on the creek. I got to make sure I be quiet. I got to stay sharp. I got to be, keep it on the hush, give a little bit, but not too much. And, like I said, it's unfortunate, but you just can't trust people, and you just can't trust that everybody will have your best interests at heart, or that they will go the extra mile to really understand you or to level with you. So my message of the day: stay sharp. Don't give people nothing to talk about. Don't give people anything to use against you. And it's a hard thing to do, but I would say the biggest thing is emotional intelligence and being able to communicate how you feel in a way that doesn't bring people down, but also it doesn't push you to be overly emotional, or in a way where people aren't going to take you serious because they think that you are just operating out of emotion. So it's a hard thing to do, because we are emotional people. We should be allowed to express ourselves. I think Black women get it the worst. And I did tell her, like, they made me feel like, well, dang, am I a mad Black woman? Because apparently I've been venting outward and not forward, or whatever her statement is. And I'm like, it's kind of crazy, because there have been plenty of days where I've wanted to call out of work, where I've wanted to just literally crash out, but I don't, you know what I'm saying? I may vent to them about it, a couple of times a week, but I don't just react in a way that how I really want to react, you get what I'm saying? So the one time that I do, I get all this pushback, and I don't know what you want me to do, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, bet. So now I know that how I express myself is perceived differently, and I just have to be on top of it, and I have to be on my P's and Q's. So stay sharp, especially to my people of color, my Black women. Stay sharp. Don't let your guard down, and don't let people try to manipulate you and make you feel like you're wrong for expressing yourself or feeling a certain way. Express it in a way that's healthy, but in a way that gets your point across, but also be intentional about who you're venting to and how you are venting those emotions and those feelings. You know, find somebody that you can trust. For me, is my husband, is my best friend. But other than that, I'm very limited on who I talk to about certain things. And now I know even more, like, I gotta be very intentional about that, especially in the workplace. So stay sharp, stay on your P's and Q's, build emotional intelligence, you know, keep it on the low, keep it on the hush, find healthy ways to let out your emotions, and don't give people nothing to say. All right, I will see y'all in the next video.